Hello and welcome back. I'm back from my offshore trip. It was so boring. Quarantine on a vessel for 10 days where you could only go into your own cabin, go to the conference room, which was a makeshift mess hall because we couldn't get to the real mess, and a little outside smoking area, and that's it for 10 days. That was really boring. But anyway, it's done now and I'm home. Obviously the trip was more than 10 days, but that was the quarantine. And here I have my Tamiya TT-01E, which we're going to throw some upgrades at. Before I talk about that though, look at these. We've got a new screwdriver set. Now these crosshead screwdrivers are not Phillips. They are JIS, Japanese Industrial Standard. And they have magnetic tips, so they're good. The reason I bought them, and if you've ever wondered, some of you will know this, some of you won't. Tamiya do not use Phillips head screws. They are not Phillips head screws. If you use a screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver on your Tamiya, as I've been doing for years, it's the wrong screwdriver. And it's not just Tamiya. If you own a Japanese car or a Japanese motorcycle, or if you like to build Japanese kits, it might be a Tamiya, you might be working on a Kyosho, I don't know. They will not use Phillips screws or screwdrivers. They'll use Japanese Industrial Standard. They look almost identical, but the profile and tip is slightly different. So if you've ever worked on a Tamiya and you feel that, hold on, I'm stripping out these screw heads a little bit too easy, or it doesn't feel like it fits right, it's because it doesn't fit right, because it's the wrong screwdriver. So if you are regularly building Tamiya kits, or if you own an old Kawasaki or something, get yourself a set of JIS, Japanese Industrial Standard screwdrivers. Anyway, so what's happening today? Well, I have a few upgrades here from a couple from Racing. This is the alloy steering rack upgrade. I talked about this before, how there are no ball ends on any of these steering components. I don't know if that'll focus on it because it's maybe not bright enough, but basically the steering components, the steering arms, don't have ball ends, so they're on the post or on the shaft, and you've got to try to get the steering arm to move freely, but it doesn's because there's no ball ends there at all. It's just a friction fitting essentially. Not very good. So going for these which have the ball ends, and yeah, it'll be an improvement. They also have adjustable toe. Not so fussed about that, but it's nice to have. Going for a new prop shaft. Yeah, Racing, a red one. I've got a blue one at the moment. I had blue drive shafts in previously. They've been replaced by steel CV shafts, so they're no longer there. I decided to go for red because I think the blue steering components, I think they're just too in your face. I don't quite like them very much, and I've got these red Schumacher shocks anyway, so I might as well go for a red colour scheme. I thought this was a Racing prop shaft in the first place. I was convinced it was, but it looks completely different to this one, so maybe it was a 3 Racing one. I can't remember. As long as it fits, I'm not really fussed. The reason I'm replacing this prop shaft, as I explained before, I used to run a 6-turn triple in this car, and it had so much power that even this alloy shaft had vibrated and bent slightly, and it's no longer completely true. So when you rev it, there's a horrible rattle noise off the prop shaft. I'm hoping this will sort it. This motor isn't as powerful. This is a 12-turn. So I'll do a before and after running sound essentially, and you'll see if there is a difference. The last upgrade I bought is a Tamiya part. It's just the metal motor mount, because it can act as a heatsink. I was thinking about getting a heatsink for this motor, but the heatsink sort of jams underneath the top deck there. It's not. I fitted one and it ripped the sticker to pieces on the motor and didn't sit right, and it was lifting this very slightly, and I thought, never mind. If I use a motor mount, when this motor heats up, it's not going to risk melting it. Not that it does much anyway, because the plastic motor mount is quite strong, but this will act as a heatsink and keep the motor slightly cooler. So, first things first, we'll take the top deck off. I'll get into the motor and get that motor mount changed. And this is the first time I've used my JIS screwdrivers rather. So, yeah, and you can feel straight away that it's really snug. Whereas the Phillips was always a little bit rattly, so that's good. Bit dirty in there, actually. Bit dirty. It's not bad, but it's obviously letting in a little bit of muck. I thought it was completely sealed up, but apparently not. Okay, so we have the plastic motor mount here. I can't really lift the motor clear because it's soldered onto the... Oh, yes I can, because my soldering's failed straight away. Lovely. Just nicely on camera for everybody to see and laugh at my soldering skills, apparently. Great. Right. Yeah, I don't know why. The spur's quite clean still. I don't know where the hell this crap's coming from. But anyway. Oh, I'll forget it. But the the pinion can fit between the motor mount here, so I'll just can lift it clear without having to take the pinion off. That's good. Top and bottom one. Now the Tamiya kits always come with this paper or cardboard gasket. Basically, so there's a barrier between the gearbox and the motor, but it is a standardized part. This would prevent the heatsink effect of this working properly, so I'm just going to ditch it and we're not going to use that. I mean, there's no real way for the dirt to get from the motor into the gearbox or vice versa, so it'll be fine. It will be fine. It's all fine. It's always fine. Everything's fine. Oh, that's really substantial. Nice. Very nice. Well, it's got some weight to it. Yeah, it's much nicer than the plastic one. Anyway. Get out you. Nope. Well, that's not wood. I can get so much more torque behind it with these screwdrivers that actually fit properly. Should have done this years ago. Anyway, nice. And I'm guessing, being a Tamiya part, it's just going to fit straight in with no issues at all. There we go. Plug. Satisfying plug noise. No issues. Maybe give this a clean off. Stand by. Right, and this one here. Just here. Or not. Actually, no, I won't do that now, because we've got to keep that off here to remove the prop shaft. Now the prop shaft is underneath the steering assembly here at the front as well. Might be better off removing the steering assembly before the prop shaft rather than me trying to bend it and wiggle it out and stuff. And I'm going to have to take the steering assembly apart anyway, so I just try and get one thing done at a time if possible, purely because I don't want hundreds of different screws of different sorts and different locations lying around to get confused and forget where each of them go. So I'm just going to, thankfully they're obvious, so get that out of the way. Again, the magnetic things screw me over a little bit. Right. Can we lift this clear, or do I need to take the diff cover off? I might need to take the diff cover off. I think I probably will. Yeah. Okay, that's okay. Okay. Can I now remove this? Yes, I can. Oh. Get back in there. Out drive is... Okay, I'll sort that out in a minute. Oh, drat. Get in there. Right. See if I don't think you can see any sort of misshapen. Can you? You can certainly see when it's rotating at high RPM that it's warped, but to the eye, I'm not entirely sure. It's okay. As long as this one's the same length and pins are the same or very similar, so it fits. Yeah, we'll be alright. Just as thick looking anyway. See, this one doesn't have, this one has Yeah Racing logo on it. Where is it? There it is. Alright. See it? The Yeah Racing logo? This one doesn't, but I thought it was. You can see actually the design at the end there with the sort of shoulder before the pins. This is exactly the same, so maybe it is, just they've put their own stamp on it recently. That looks like it needs a clean also. Okay. Yeah, which way do I do there first, and then on this side? Looks like it'll work. Yep. And that needs to be reseated. There we are. There we are. I like the look of the red. That side's probably better. There you go. Although I've got the Yeah Racing logo that way. No, I think I'll flip it around. I'd like to have the Yeah Racing logo towards the battery bar side, because then you can see it. You can't really see it through the electronic side of the car. So I'll just quickly redo that. Flip that around. There you are, see? Yeah Racing, awesome. I do like the look of the red one. And it's not too far off, in fact it's very close to the colour of my Schumacher shocks, so everything's good. Apart from the mess that's happening here, which is not good. Okay, that's that. First two modifications actually, that's them finished. So I need to just have a look at the, here it is, the steering assembly. What exactly am I replacing here? Certainly going to be replacing, let's have a look here. We're replacing these two parts here, there and there. Two steering arms. I believe I'm also replacing the toe links, because the whole point is the toe links here are the ones that have, see, am I not showing you? There you go, these toe links here, these are the ones that don't have the ball ends. So, and I need to have a look at what I have to replace with this as well, if anything. I assume certainly the top part here will be replaced, because that again doesn't have ball ends on it. We'll see. I'm going to have a look at what's in this packet. And there are instructions, which is good. So this part's already assembled. So I am replacing the two steering arms there and there, as I said, and also this top triangular shaped piece here. That's getting replaced as well, right in there, because this part, you can see it's fully assembled. That's good. Ah, well, hold on, these are... Oh, the rest of them, right, okay, the rest of them are just used as spanner. No, they're not. They're not. They've got hex parts at the top, so you can use your Allen keys. So this is going to be the only part of the car really that has hex hardware, I'd imagine. Possibly inside the diffs, because I've replaced them with 3 racing diffs, I think. But these are all going to have hex hardware, and they've also got bearings in the steering components themselves. Actually, I have bearings already because I fitted the bearing kit, but that's cool. So what we're going to take apart first of all, we've got to take off the toe links. You need to remember that the toe links are going on the rearmost hole in the hubs, and that can just get lifted clear. Put the post over there with it, so they're well out of the way. Again, lift it clear, sit it there. And this one part here, now am I using the original Tamiya screw? No. Ah, so the servo arm itself is also getting replaced, I think. Yes, it looks like it. So actually the servo arm, the one that comes off the servo horn itself, is also getting replaced by an adjustable one. Which is good, it's fine, but it's also, if I can get into it, that's not so easy. don't want to have to remove the servo for this. It's also more work for me because I'm going to have to make adjustable links and get all the lengths correct, which is, you know, time consuming. But that's okay, that's fine. Why would I be in this hobby if I didn't know about these time consuming little jobs? Drat. Oh, does it fit? Oh, I can use it. Yep, got it. Right. That's the servo arm and the top part as well. And now the steering servo assembly. Steering assembly is completely free. And I have some links to make up. Okay, the links are made up. First things first is I'm going to use what they're calling the steering bridge link, which goes from the servo horn into here. So I'm going to get this into the servo horn there. Hopefully I can get my Allen key in there. This part is obviously into plastic, so I won't need any thread locker for this one. So then get it started. Not the easiest place to get into that. And there, no. Oh well. Well, there you are then. That was difficult to get into, but that's that on now. Now I will need thread locker for the next part. I've got to use this piece as it is here. I'll thread it over the posts, so I can keep that on camera. 1, 2. Come on. 1, 2, 1, 2, like that. Okay. And obviously this screw needs to go into the back there, but I'm going to have to use a little bit of thread locker. Next part is to put thread locker there, and then into this bit here. And the reason I need thread locker is obviously metal on metal. Now this stuff comes out in a torrent. Sometimes it doesn't come out, and then it all just comes jumping out, and then you get it everywhere. So I'm just trying to, damn it, just like that. Got thread locker on my nice new shiny red bits, but that's okay. Sorry for that. And line this up. Why is my servo fighting me? There we go. Next part. The steering links. Or rather I mean, they call them the steering arm links. I prefer to call them the toe arms or toe links. But either way, same thing. They need the thread locker on one side because the one side is going into the alloy and the other side is going into the plastic hubs. If we could get some thread locker out, that'd be lovely. There we go, there's some. There we go. Right. Trying to steer that to the side. That actually looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I didn't want. I'm not a big fan of lots of alloy for the sake of alloy on an RC car. On my XXS, for example, I've got some with Lossy. I've got some alloy bits that are there just to enhance the look of it, but I don't like going overboard. I think once you get to beyond a certain point, it just looks a bit silly, and it looks a bit naff. I didn't really want an alloy steering rack on this, but you know what? It's all right. It actually looks not too bad at all. It's pretty tasteful rather than just bling for the sake of bling. And then the last thing I need to do is just screw the toe links onto the hubs here. I've already adjusted to the correct length according to the instructions for the link, so the toe should be spot on. I don't know if by standard or by default if it's 0 degrees toe in, 1 degrees toe in, 1 degrees toe out. I don't know. I'm guessing it'll either be straight ahead or slightly toed in. Toed out by default isn't really something that I've come across all too often. Right. There we are then, those are the upgrades on. Steering is sorted. I need to put the diff cover back on. Not the diff cover. I'm out of practice, as you can see. I need to put the spur cover back on, which is also the motor cover and covers the pinion. And then the top deck. But first I'll put the thread locker away. That just fits over there. Like that. Got the 4 screws here. I really like this car. It's a good, honest car, the TT-01. This is a Type E, but any of them really. Same with the TT-02. I just like the simple nature of the design, but I also like the scope of the amount of upgrades you can get for it. How to make it completely different from everybody else's Tamiya. How to make it very much your own, an own reflection of what you like, your own personality. For example, excuse me, I don't like a huge amount of bling. I prefer, if it's going to be blinging, I prefer it to be a functional thing, you know, stronger part or a heat sink, you know, that sort of thing. Obviously, sometimes it's nice to have something to look nice just for the sake of looking nice. Don't get me wrong, like the alloy prop shaft looks great, although I got it for the strength rather than for the looks, because the standard one was really feeble. The TT-02 one's better than the TT-01 prop shaft. That it would actually look quite good as a deckless chassis, like a TC3, wouldn't it, with no top deck. Well, I done did a silly thing. I was putting the top deck on. These screws are slightly longer than these screws, you can see here, and the longer ones have to go towards the back, but I must have knocked them when I was doing the thing, so they were in front. So I put them in front, and what's happened is I put it down through this gap in the top deck, and it's screwed right into the spur gear. It's put a dent on the spur gear right on the teeth. So now every time it rotates into the pinion, there's every time. So that spur gear is now destroyed. I don't think I have another one. So I'm going to have to finish off this video another day because I don't have the bits. Never mind, these things happen. Nice return, nice return. Nice return back to the game after being away. Just making a complete hash of everything. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you later. Bye bye.